off. Hope I don't get a ticket.
I see what appears to be an interesting little bottle right here. Let's see if it's whole. It's whole. Oh, it's got a picture on it.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Adventure Archaeology. If you are new here, my name is Brandon, and today we have a special episode planned for you guys. If you've been around the channel, you know that we specialize in treasure hunting or searching for historical artifacts. We metal detect, we search for antique bottles, we mud art, we do a little bit of everything. But to get to all of those locations, I usually have to have either an ATV or a four-wheel drive. I've used my motorcycle on occasion, but I've always wanted a better route to take. Something that was a little bit more nimble and something that was easier to take through the woods and stash. I'm always scared about parking my truck or my motorcycle on the side of the road and somebody loading it up and taking it. Well, this big brown box right here in front of me may be the solution to that very problem that I have. Cyrusher contacted me here a couple weeks back, and I've been having a conversation back and forth with them for a little while. They think that they have this solution as mentioned for me. This inside of here is a full suspension electric bicycle. Now you may be thinking, well, Brandon, what good is that going to do you? Well, I've got to tell you, this thing is pretty epic from the videos that I've watched. I can't wait to get it out of the box, get it together, and get it charged to show y'all what it's all about. I really do think it's going to be a very, very awesome tool to add to my arsenal. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and crack this box open and take a look at it and see what it looks like. So this is going to be very off the wall. I have done zero research on the actual stats of this electric bike other than watching a few of the videos that I saw online to make sure that it was something that I could use. The couple of videos that I did see told me how heavy this thing is, and they were not lying. This thing was dropped off by FedEx, and it took everything I had to load this thing in the truck by myself and to get it down here to the shop to get it assembled. So I know it's going to be a little bit cumbersome getting it out of the box, so I'm going to just take my time and try to get it out there without stuff falling out. Then we'll get the instructions out, we'll start assembling it. I'll give you an approximate time of how long it took me to put together. I'm not going to make you sit through all that stuff painfully. What I'll do is I'll probably put this thing on a time lapse or something like that where it'll just be easier for us to get it done without boring y'all to death. But let's go ahead and see if I can crack this thing open. Got my handy dandy steak knife because I couldn't find a pocket knife this morning. There we go. Just like that, we got it open. This seems to be much easier than the videos I saw where the guy was trying to lift it straight out of the box by himself. Looked pretty awkward. All right, camera's off the tripod. I'm gonna give you my first impressions looking at it. You can see right here, it says Shimano. That's gonna be a name brand cassette down there. This is going to be a single drive on the front. I have seen where it looks like if you order this overseas, like in the UK or someplace, where they have where you can change gears on this front side. It is a single drive gear here. For me, I think that makes perfect sense. I don't think I needed all of those gears for what I'll be using it for. This is why I think this bike is gonna be extremely handy for me. If you look on the back right here, instead of it just being straight off the back onto the tire, they do have a rack back there. And that rack is the perfect size for a crate to be able to hold antique bottles or treasures, or even be able to stash my metal detector on there while I go out through the woods. So at first glance, you can tell the front tire is off, the handlebars are off. Looks like there's gonna be about 4 Allen head screws right here to put the handlebars on. If I had to imagine, there's only gonna be a couple of nuts to go ahead and get the front tire on. I'll check the air pressure on the tires and go ahead and get this thing charging. Guys, this is not our first e-bike in our household. Just so you know, this is packaged much better than any of the other e-bikes that we've bought. We have 2 other brands here. And this right here is awesome that they did it like this. Like I said, because you know that the FedEx and UPS guys, they could care less. They've had long, rough days, and they have this huge, very heavy package, and the last thing that they're worried about is being careful with it. So now it's time for assembly. So about 10 minutes to unpackage it, get it out of the box. Let's see how long it takes us to put it together. According to the clock over there, we're looking right at about 1:37. Also worth noting, all the tools that you need are right here inside of this toolkit box. There's going to be your wrench. There's your Allen wrenches that you need. Let's see. That's going to be the charger and the pedals, and they even threw in a complimentary air pump, which is really cool. Can honestly say the other bikes didn't come with that. So let's get this thing put together, guys. Usually the company only provides you with 1 Allen wrench. They threw a full set in, and for those of you that are mechanics,
These aren't like Bondus or a name brand, but the one thing that they do have is they have that round tip on it, and man, that makes such a big difference when you're assembling something. Just a side note. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pop those 4 screws loose right there. We're gonna go ahead and get the handlebars in place and throw the wheel on. Let's put the camera back on the tripod and go back into time-lapse mode.
I give in to the lesser fight. My body aches to be satisfied. My weakness comes and goes. My weakness comes and goes. I'm reaching out for the easy high. Please fortify.
Guys, it took me right at 20 minutes for full assembly, and that was with a couple of hiccups. I did not do my part and look at the instruction manual, so it had probably been about 15 minutes. The stem right here was turned around backwards. That was no big deal. Just had to loosen these 2 up, spin it around 180, facing forwards, put the handlebars on. There is a stem that just drops out of place to put the front tire on. The front fender was not in place, so you had a bolt right here. You have to flip your headlight over to be able to get the fender in place. But overall, very, very easy assembly. For those of you curious, you may be going, well, where is the motor at on this thing? And if you've never been around electric bicycles, this is a rear hub motor. So the motor's actually inside of the hub right there, which is pretty cool. Keeps the weight towards the back of the bike instead of in the front. But to kind of level it out, the battery sits right here midways, and that keeps it very well balanced. Here's where the battery mounts, for those of you curious, because the battery is removable, whether or not this could be stolen off of your bike. Say if you have it on a bike lock, it does come with a set of keys, and there is a pin built in. So to unlock it and get the battery off, you have to put it into the keyhole right there and get it out. There is a USB port right there. That is not for the charger, however, though. I'm assuming that that must be for an update. You can see a power button right here with a couple LEDs. It's gonna be a power indicator, but there's also gonna be a battery meter right up here. You see where it says full and empty? So that's not gonna be a big deal. And right here is the charge port. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing installed and get it charging. So we are going uphill at 16 miles an hour. This would be a pretty treacherous drive. I'm not pedaling one bit. You can see the max watt power is 1000. It's a 750 watt motor with a 1000 watt peak. So you can definitely tell that I put a little bit of a strain on the motor coming up, but as soon as I let off, look, the wattage goes to 0. And I do have the power turned all the way up. So I would say it's working pretty daggum well for what I need it to. Speed limit is 25. Hope I don't get a ticket. All right, we're gonna test the suspension out. I gotta head off this hill anyways to get down to the creek bottom. It's at the very, very bottom down there. And this is why I don't bring my truck down here, because it turns to a swamp really, really fast. My little cut through trail is right down here on the right. So far, so good, guys. So far, so good. I'm pleasantly surprised. All right, here we go. Here's my cut through. And looks like I need to adjust my headlight a little bit. It's pointing straight up. It's pretty dark in here because it's super early this morning. I haven't had much time this week to get out and film, so I'm having to make do with a little bit of time that I have. All right, this looks like as good a spot as any to park the bike. And then creek's right over here, so let's go get in the creek and go see what we can find. Might have to let the sun come up just a little bit to be able to see better. Look at the neck on this. I'm not sure what it would have been. It's definitely the right age bracket, at least a century old. Could be 20s, but it's just very decorative. I don't know what that was. We're gonna keep it though. We'll find some use for it. Been pretty slow so far, but I'm just now getting back in here into the heart of this little creek. And the very first emboss bottle that I got was this Moraline, or Moraline, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I think this was somebody that was a competitor of Vaseline, but I'm not positive. Still a pretty cool little bottle. We're going to take it, and we're going to hope that up there through the jungle that there's going to be a couple more goodies waiting on us. All right, we got a little medicine right here. You can see it looks like the neck's going to be there. The question is, are you going to be embossed? Oh, it's a slick Dag nabbit. I was really hoping for a local town on that one. But you can't always win every single time you pick something up. So let's keep going. I see what appears to be an interesting little bottle right here. Let's see if it's whole. It is whole. Oh, it's got a picture on it. It says Old Quaker. And there's the Quaker State guy right there. That's pretty cool. That's probably 1930s though. But that's a pretty neat little find. That's not something that we find every day of the week. And it is a cork top. So let's keep it. Keep going. That kind of makes me a little bit more excited to see what may be further ahead. Looks like a hill to one right there. Oh, it's broken. There's a bottom to an old stone beer. As you can see, the glass is starting to pick up. So let's see if we can find a soda in here. Got another little medicine right there. Let's see if it's got anything on it. Oh, it's another slick corker. Man, I want one of these today with a town on it. We got another snake today, guys. Look at this guy, how big he is. You see his head right there? He is not a venomous snake. He's right around 5 foot long. He's a good guy. He's the guy that'll catch rodents for you. So we're definitely leaving that guy alone. I just figured I would show him off to y'all. It is absolutely humid, hot, and muggy. So it doesn't surprise me that he's down here in this creek bottom. All right, I almost walked right by it. You can see the neck of it right here. It looks like it's gonna be too long to be super old, but probably Deco era. Nope, not even Deco era. 60s or 70s, not what we're looking for. So check it out, I was walking right up the creek. There's a big tree across back there, so I climbed up on the bank right here to go around. And right here on the surface was a bud wine. It says, makes you glad you're thirsty, which is pretty cool. It says minimum contents, and then it has a patent number back here. It says bottle patent number 52423. Licensed for bud wine only. That's pretty cool. I wish it would have had a town on it, but it is an aqua variant, it looks like. And that will clean up nice. I'm excited to have that bottle. So I started walking further up from where I found that bud wine. And I look down and I'm following kind of a bunch of trash that you see here. It looks like it's from the 70s and 80s. And I look down and there was this Kerr self-sealing mason jar. This isn't a super old one, but there's no damage or anything to it, so it's worth keeping. And I turned around and there is a huge house dump right here. Most of it looks to be a lot more modern than what we typically like to find. But in these areas are where you'll find porcelain signs and old cans. And I didn't know this till recently, but there's a lot of cans that are worth a pretty chunk of change. That Coca-Cola one's seen better days. Schlitz, that one could be fixed. You can tell though by the way that the top is that that's an older can. That one was loaded with Coke. Budweiser. That's a pretty cool can because it says Alabama up there on the top. That's probably worth keeping. There's a lot of variety right here though. Different types of cans. What does that say? Oh, New Grape. That's a New Grape can. Now that's cool. Never seen one of those. That one's definitely coming out with us. Let's see what's over here. My gosh, this stuff is deep, guys. I'm actually pretty nervous to walk on it, that it'll go through my waiter boot. There's some kind of grape drink over there. There's a Pepsi can. I want that Pepsi can. May not be quite as old as what some of you may think would be worth keeping, but I'm telling y'all, those can collectors, they're absolutely wild. They go nuts over this stuff. I guess because it doesn't survive like glass, it rusts away. If you find some that are in pretty good shape, they're worth keeping. Can't forget where I laid my rake in my bottles over there. So that's a more modern can right here than that New Grape that we found a second ago. But it is a Pepsi Cola. You can see the barcode on there. A lot of people would instantly throw it back down when they saw that barcode, but we're gonna keep it. I don't know what all could be in here, so I'm gonna prowl around for a minute. I'll turn the camera back on if I find something cool though. That New Grape can was definitely worth the stop. All right guys, we're back at home. I wanted to show y'all though, this is everything that we carried out today. You can see I got a bunch of cans. They're not as old as some of them. This one right here is pretty cool, that New Grape. I'm gonna see if I can clean it up a little bit. We do have the blood wine down there. I did get the jar. I do have that little Quaker flask down in there separate. But as you can see, this thing is incredibly handy. It's very useful. I'm super pleased with the XF900. Big thanks to Syrusher. That's one of the big deals about having a YouTube channel is you have a lot of people approach you wanting you to promote their product. My thing is I get approached almost every single day, but I only do a sponsored video once every, you know, 3 or 4 months, just because I don't want to drown you guys out. But this right here is worth having. I'm telling you guys, it blew my mind today. I didn't have to pedal. It was almost just like riding a moped through the woods. The large balloon style tires made a huge difference. Combined with the suspension, it's like floating on clouds, guys. Very, very pleased with it. I'm super excited to have it. Again, big shout out to Syrusher. All their contact info, everything you need to know about them is going to be in the description of the video. I hope y'all enjoyed this shorter than usual video this week with a little bit of a twist. If you did, please be sure that you're subscribed, and we'll catch you guys in the next adventure.